All right. Just want a little bit of a recap from the weekend. After a chance to watch the film, just proud of our players for their way they prepared and stayed locked in. Thought we had a good, productive bye week, and I think that it proved itself to be that way with how we performed. Guys were sharp. We started fast. That was the whole objective. Leading up to the game was for us to be able to be at our best early and set the tone early, and did exactly that. You know, the sack caused fumble. I don't know if I've ever had one of those where the first play of the game was that kind of situation. So really, excited for Quan. You know, the kind of 1 year anniversary almost of his, major setback and struggle with his home there in Florida and with the hurricane. So he was pretty fitting for him to be rewarded with that. And he's done so many awesome things for us. And D-Mac, we just were talking about him and how well he's been playing. And so he continues to do a great job. So just set the tone right away, and then offense took care of business. But did feel like that we had, at the 8:40 mark, we scored our third touchdown in the first quarter, and kind of a lull from there until halftime. Still moved the ball, had a lot of yards, didn't score enough points. We talked about that as a staff and as a team, and addressing that with our offense. Just thought we got a little. We lost our focus a little bit, didn't execute at the level that I think we should have. But I thought the defense continued to play at a high level throughout the whole game, so I was encouraged by that. But just going through, I just felt like that we ran the football the way we needed to run the football, and for 260 yards and 6.8 yards a carry. And then obviously Stevie did some good things, but the O-line was not perfect. Still things to clean up and work on, but did a good job. And then even with Hunter going down, and Charlie came in there and did a really good job playing center. So it's just continue to build depth and get guys to be able to step in when they need to step in, rise up and be able to perform when called upon. And then 11 explosive plays, second week in a row for that, from last two games. And those are big. We talked about creating those explosive plays and how important that is, and had the 99-yard drive. I thought that was to me, that was the most impressive thing that our guys did. It was over 7 minutes, 13 plays, and just kind of was the final dagger to kind of put an exclamation point on the day. So really encouraged by that. Just got to keep on the details. Still got some young guys in there at how they prepare, how they get ready to handle some early success. Then defensively, really proud of Coach Womack and our defensive staff. And shutouts are hard to get. We know that. We've talked about that. That's our fourth one since I've been the head coach. And just being able to execute a lot of little things going through and watching on both sides of the ball, just this growth from our team in the communication and being able to execute at those important times in the game and the situational times and third downs and all that. So just holding them to 0 for 11 on third downs is excellent. And just still we challenge, hey, we got to get more takeaways. I know we got a big one, but we want to get more of those. And we've had 2 defensive scores, which is huge. But still we need to get more of those. But I just thought that our special teams had a couple penalties that still hurt us, and that was really disappointing. So we have to get that, has to be fixed. And so we will be addressing that very consistently and trying to get to where we can eliminate those, because those are momentum changing, field position changing opportunities there. So, but just thought our guys played really hard, and that to me is really what stuck out. And it was very important. I want our guys to really show their appreciation for all of our former players that have donated to make our locker room what it is, and just a special weekend to have a bunch of former players back, alumni for the university, and it's important, to be able to play at a certain level and thank them with how hard you play, and that's something I just want to make sure we did, and I thought our guys responded to that. In terms of just individual performances, offensive player of the game, Wap, 10 catches, 182 yards, continues to play at a high level. Stevie Scott, 12 rushes, 165 yards, almost 14 yards a carry. So just thought he ran hard. We had a couple statement runs, his big run there in the third quarter, and then even when there in the first quarter when Nick Westbrook scored his touchdown, just the attitude, the toughness, the weight room, the way we want to run through people. I thought there was just those kind of plays physically on defense, and I just think that's just really encouraged by that. Defensively, D-Mac, DeMarcus Elliott, was a player of the game, as well as Khalil Bryant. D-Mac had 3 tackles. He had the sack, the tackles for loss, several of those, and then the caused fumble. And then Khalil Bryant's just been playing so consistent, really encouraged by his just consistent performance. And he's so dependable guy that makes a lot of checks back there. kind of sets everybody and, calms everybody, and he just plays really hard. He's tackling well and encouraged by that. But a lot of guys, Juwan Burgess, I thought he continues to elevate his level of play. He's playing hard. Linebackers are playing hard, and defensive lines being aggressive. And Mike Ziemba is just disrupting and just playing hard, and all those guys up front. So just the effort. Special teams player of the game, Reese Taylor, had a unique situation where he had that had the offsides penalty. He went down and made a great play on the kickoff, and then we went back and watched it on film. I did not think he was ahead of the other guys that were close to him, which kind of made it look like he was off. But when that ball was kicked, his foot was right there on the line. So I didn't. But anyways, hey, they called it. You can't complain about it. So he came back, jogged back, and then boom, made the tackle again. So I really was encouraged by the fact that he just didn't face him. We talked about, hey, it's sugar cookie. You get something that whether you think you did something or not, you just gotta. They move back 5 yards, kick it off again. You go down and make the tackle. Same thing all over again. So his confidence is growing. He's obviously, we missed him early on with some injuries, but it's great to have him back. He's one of our best players, and I just love his mindset. And he's a tough kid. He had some very physical plays on defense, and that's what we have to have. Also for the week, defensive scouts, Jordan Justovich and Jeremy Boyd, two guys that continue to work really hard and give us a great look during the week. Offensive scout team player of the week, Luke Shaudovich. Just really appreciate his consistency. Got him a chance to get some reps during the game, which is great. And then Connor Thomas and Ryan Barnes were the scout team, the special teams scout of the week. And once again, those two guys just continue to give us a great look. And we also talked about in the team, Aaron Casey got a chance to he was in there for 2 plays. He had a sack and a tackle for loss. So just really young guy in our program that's been on special teams, but just working hard, doing everything right. Just neat to see him rewarded for that. And then to continue, Matt Bjornsson just tougher than nails. I just love his mindset, his toughness. He's battling through, and he's getting healthier, but he really hasn't missed. He's just kind of a guy that just love that toughness that he exudes to our whole team. So just encouraged by the progress. Obviously, it's got to continue to get better each and every week. I'll do an update. Sean Riggins is no longer going to be playing football for us. Just had a lot of injuries that have mounted for him. He's an awesome young man. He and I sat down, had a really heart-to-heart about it, and he's going to continue to help the program and be with us, but he won't be playing anymore with the medical situation, but he'll graduate, and just a guy that I have a lot of respect for, and we've had a lot of good times to really connect. And one of my whole goals and what I do is I want to help young men find their purpose in life and pursue it with tremendous passion. And he and I have had a lot of talks about that, and just that to me is what we're supposed to do. So he's given a lot to our program, and I really thank him for that. He'll continue to be a part of us. Won't be playing, but he'll be with us and helping us in any way he possibly can. So. But other than that, excited about Maryland. Big Ten opportunity on the road, and Coach Loxley has done a tremendous job there. A lot of respect for him. Just an unbelievably athletic football team that we're about to play in all phases, and speed everywhere on the field. And got a lot of new faces. Got some really talented transfers and some really, really good players. So we have to have a great week of preparation. Need to continue at this time of year, after game 6. Just keep getting guys healthier and working through that process, and going to have to be on top of our game in all 3 phases. So this is a very important game for us, and it's going to demand our full attention and absolute very, very best preparation and execution on game day. So questions?
I guess just first with the health update, Hunter, how's he doing? You said you didn't think it would be something that lingered.
I don't think so. It's we obviously watched him limp off the field, so just a lower leg injury. Don't think it's serious. So, but anytime with linemen, they don't heal quickly as skilled guys sometimes with lower leg injuries. But just be doing his rehab, and we'll get him out there as much as possible, and he'll get ready. But I expect him to play. He's a toughie.
Coach, can you talk a little bit more in detail in regards to the last 2 weeks that WAP has had in regards to sort of being open all the time and then making a lot of yards after the catch when he has had the ball in his hands?
Sure. He continues, to execute at a high level in regards to getting open, as you mentioned. I think it's due to Coach Hurd does a really good job with our receivers. I have a lot of respect for Grant, and he's the very first person that I hired when I was named a head coach here. And just the way he's tough on our guys, holds them accountable to the details of their splits and how they run routes and their releases. And he's been hard on Whop, and but he's made Whop a lot better. And Whop has accepted his coaching, and that's a tribute to Whop and Coach Hurd being consistent and relentless in his approach. And so, known Whop for a long time. He played with Thomas in high school, so I saw him play his junior and senior year. And the energy that he had back then, I mean, it hasn't changed at all. I mean, he just goes and goes and goes and always just made plays back then, and he continues to do that, And so we just hurt us last year losing him. But just to be able to see him rewarded for just having a great off season. He came into fall camp as big as he's ever been since he's been here, and as fast as he's ever been, and just feeling really good and worked extremely hard, and just neat to see him rewarded for that, by getting a chance to make plays. And but I tell you what, he's blocking his tail off, and that's the part I love. I mean, he's just, whether it's in the run game, on a perimeter game, and he's not very big, but he's just, there's a toughness to him and a competitive spirit to him. He just wants to win, and he wants to help this program do great things. And so just really, proud of him for that. And but he's really grown up in a lot of ways, and I think that's another big part of it as we all challenge our guys to grow and develop and leadership and the different things. And as he continues to make those plays. But yeah, he's doing a great job. And I think, Mike does a really good job of getting the ball out in front of him. So when he catches it, he's moving and he's running away from the defenders. And I think you kind of saw it on the first catch of the game, and the way he was able to separate from the defender and affect the defender's angle by where the ball was, the placement of the football, and how quickly it comes out. So, but he's a beneficiary of that. He's got great hands, good focus, catch it with his eyes first, and then be able to be consistent in that. So, yeah, he's played well. It's got to continue.
Coach, you mentioned Reese Taylor. As the season goes on, progresses, gets tougher, gets further into. What do you envision from him being able to add to this defense and help it grow?
Well, first of all, just he's going to play a whole lot more, and that's a big part of that. It really hurt him, and he was frustrated, and I totally understand that frustration, because he moved the position, and then the fall camp is such a critical time to get all those valuable reps, and he missed a lot of those because of his injury, and so then getting back, and then had another small setback. So, but I just think that what he gives us is a extremely talented athlete that is very, very quick and fast and tough. And I think the toughness piece is the part that, when he's come here as a high school quarterback, there's no doubt I thought he was a tough guy, but you didn't have to go tackle anybody, and especially guys that are all bigger than you are. So, but he continues to, whether it's taking on O-linemen on coming around the perimeter, or it's tackling on kickoff coverage or tackling running backs or receivers. So he brings a quickness and a toughness to us that we have to have, and just another really good athlete on the field that can make plays and we can bring pressure with, and he can cover, and his man coverage skills are excellent, and will only continue to get better the more he works at it and gets a chance to learn to play the position, because he hasn't played it very long. And so I just think he just makes us a more dangerous defense to continue to play the way we want to play and create takeaways and like to get him more involved in on special teams. I see his role growing on that as he continues to get more reps and gets more comfortable with the different things that he's learning there too. So still a young player that adds a lot of value to our team.
Coach, when at this point in the season, there's kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster in the beginning, facing teams like Ohio State, and then going on to play Connecticut then and play Michigan State, a bye, and then you play Rutgers. But is there a message to the team this week that you're going to try to tell them to kind of spark or maintain momentum as the level of competition begins to kind of level out here in the Big Ten season?
Well, we talked today about it's so critical to be consistent in your preparation, and that to me is the message, because that allows you to do the little things right at critical times, and that's how you perform at a high level when the chips are down and the game's on the line, which is what we have to do. And as you said, we get into consistent Big Ten play, playing teams that it's going to be 4-quarter games and coming down to those final series of the game. It's the consistency in your preparation. The consistency in your execution is going to allow us to get a consistent result. And that to me is really a very strong message that we talked about today and we'll continue to talk about. And that's what I want to see. We're still a young enough team to where that's the struggle, is the consistency and the mindset and the way you do the things that you do. We're talking about, even with our guys, the consistency of how you prepare to play. What's your pregame rituals? How do you go through this process? We got a lot of young guys. We just challenged our staff yesterday about teaching them and making sure now they've got in a groove this year and knowing what is best for each guy. Everybody's a little bit different, but don't sit back and assume things with your guys. Just help them. We have a whole process we go through to help our guys get mentally ready, but making sure these young guys, like a Matt Bedford, who hasn't been in this situation week after week after week at this level, how's he going to handle it? And it's one thing to get thrust in there, played well, the first time he got out there, well, then now you got to do it again. You got to do it again. And then you do some good things on Saturday, and you got to go do it again. And now you're on the road again. And so that, to me, is the message. And it's very important because it's that's what we're all striving for, is at the end of the day that you play at a high level consistently. And so if you want to create change, you change something you do every day. And that's a life principle that I have tried to live by and I challenge our staff with, and talked about that very thing again with our team this morning.
Hi, Coach. Early in the season, defenses were trying to take Stevie away. What were your conversations like during that process to kind of keep him upbeat and now to see him kind of break through and have his first 100-yard game? What's that?
Be patient, because there's no doubt you come into the season, you rush for all those yards as a freshman, kind of come out of nowhere. Everybody talks about you the whole offseason, and you come up and it continues, which is part of it, and you got to learn how to handle that. And then the first few games are harder because everybody's just loading the box, and they were. And so to me, it's about, and he's always been so great. That's the thing I love about Stevie, is he's like, Coach, I'm good. He's just, it's going to come. He gets that. But then I think he kind of pressed a little bit, and so we had to, even Coach Hart, about him just being patient in his running, not trying to create the big runs. Let them come to you. Just do what you're supposed to do and let the system play itself out. So I think you kind of started to see more of that, here recently, and that just, to me, is part of him being patient and our offense getting better as they get more and more comfortable with Coach DeBoer's system and what he's doing and how he calls things. And so, yeah, it's just like anything else. I mean, some guys on defense I had some conversations with. And older guys are ones that you usually have, if they're not having the kind of season that they thought they're going to have numbers-wise, well, you know what? You just got to do your job. And when you try to hit a home run, you usually don't. It's when you just are smooth and you're doing your thing that you do and you have this consistent swing, that's when it happens. And it's no different in this sport. So to me, it's just consistently doing your job, focus on the task at hand, play as hard as you possibly can, do everything you can to help this team win. And then when those times, just like takeaways, they start coming. And you just got to continue to stay with the process of consistently. That word, I've used it a bunch, and I'm going to keep saying it, but that's just what we have to do. It's that grit piece. It's the stay the course piece. It's that perseverance and just doing the right things over and over and over and over again. And that's the same thing I just said to Stevie. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep getting better. Keep getting, more attention to the details of what you're doing, in your preparation, how you practice, how you play. And he just stayed with it, and now he's starting to get some open field.
Coach, you have 3 out of your 4 wins. You've given up a total of 3 points in those games, and they've been blowout wins. The fact that the defense has kept up its intensity through the first string and the second string and the third string, and they have the pride to finish off those games so strong. Just what does it say about the defensive mentality from top to bottom that guys aren't losing focus?
Well, first of all, we've worked really hard here to build a culture. And I think that's what you see, and there's no doubt. And we had, a couple games here that we didn't play to our standard defensively, and that was very upsetting to me. I take it personal. And even the first game with our tackling, just all those kind of things. But it's just, trying to stay with it to be able to this is how we're going to play. When you step on this football field and you represent our defense, this is how we're going to play, whether you're 1, 2, or 3. And we challenge our guys about that all the time. The film, there's a lot of accountability from that film, and make a big deal about the effort and how we're going to, fit our gaps and how we're going to tackle and how hard we're going to play the run of the football. And if you don't do those things, you're not going to play. And we're now getting enough depth to where if you don't do it the right way, you do get sit, because the guy behind you is just as good as you are in a lot of spots. And there's not a big drop off. And so that to me is the whole objective, is that you got to be able, and it's going to get harder. We're going to play better teams coming up here in this long stretch of the rest of the season and week after week after week. But to me, that's encouraging to see it. You got to see it first with whoever you're playing, and then. But I think it's a tribute to Coach Womack and our defensive staff, just the attention to detail and staying on them all the time about the things, and us just trying to continue to get better. And we've looked at things. We've done a lot of, very, very intense meetings about getting some of these things corrected, and the players just developing the confidence too. I thought Saturday was just a good exhibition of just good, fundamentally sound football defensively and playing with fanatical effort. So I think it's recruiting more good players, got more depth, more guys, trying to get a lot of those reps so we keep guys fresh throughout the season and then be able to play with. And that's all leading up to what we're about to get into. So that's what we're working towards.
You talked about other guys having their numbers down. I mentioned Nick Westbrook is one of those, but to get him a touchdown in five catches on Saturday, it had to be big. And is it just a byproduct of WAP doing so well?
I think so, and it's like anything else. And once again, Nick's an unselfish guy, and that's why LEO to me is the foundational piece of this whole program. And that is, it's not about me, because I don't care who gets the credit. We just want to win. And so Nick Westbrook's an unselfish guy. Yeah, everybody wants to get catches and make plays, and he got a chance to get several of those Saturday. And so I love to see him be rewarded, because he's such an unselfish guy that has done everything we've asked him to do, and he's a captain on our team and a leader and on our whole campus. So, but yeah, I just think you never know which guy's going to be. D. Hale, she shows up and had a big game against Michigan State, and Ty had a big catch, here, and several catches, and then Wops obviously had a couple good games here, and it might be somebody else coming up, the following week, So to me, that's where you have a lot of different guys. They can't key on one guy, and they try and take away one of them. It's going to free up and create one-on-ones with somebody else. So to me, it's about we're going to take what the defense has given us in both the coverages and the run fits, and right now that's the whole goal, and whatever we got to do to score points and win football games, that's the objective.
I mean, obviously you've talked about the consistency in terms of effort and practice, and I mean, just being able to string 2 wins together in conference. I mean, how big is that for momentum in terms of where you are in the season?
That's big. I mean, that's what you have to do, and you have to do it at home. You got to do it on the road. You got to do it with all your guys healthy, with some of your guys healthy, with whatever happens. That's to me is what we're shooting for. And we have a goal here, what we want to accomplish at this program and where we want to take this program, and it's a step-by-step process of getting there. And so next step is, obviously, got one Saturday, got to, flush it and go do it again. And it's very critical that we get a second one in conference in a row, and then try and get a third one. And that's just the progression you go through. But right now, it's you do that by focusing everything you have on the next task at hand, which is Maryland. So, but yeah, it's a big deal. That's where we want to be, and we've put a lot of hard work into this, and so that doesn't change. It's just stay in the course. It's all about grit.
Tom, over your 3 years here, how has your approach as a coach changed towards getting your team ready for Big Ten road games?
I think that as you get more comfortable with where, we've been to Maryland before, we stayed at this hotel, you're more comfortable with the schedule itself. I think I just try to really do a good job of creating routines for our guys. And you have so many, the comfort level of being at home, is helpful. And I think it eliminates certain things. But I want to be a team that travels well, that we know. We talk about it being a business trip, and from the perspective of we're going here for one reason only. And they know exactly what that reason is. And so everything is geared around that. And to be able to have a systematic way of how we practice that day before we leave, and where we go check out here, and we always go to the indoor facility if we're flying, which we usually do. We're going to be flying to this one, and just the whole process of going through when we get to the hotel, what we do and how we handle all that, and the meetings and the flow and just that comfort level. So to me, that's it. Once again, the consistent preparation and just making sure our guys are locked in, and all the little things you have to do to get yourself ready based on what the kickoff time happens to be, and have a schedule based off of that. So, but that to me is, kind of what I've learned. It's all about just the flow of where you're headed. And so anytime you go somewhere brand new, it'll be different when we go to Nebraska, because we've not been there before, So, but since I've been here, so but all that stuff you just adjust and you make it as much of the routine as you possibly can, because it's about you got to play well on the road.